Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be reviewing something new from XPPen. Let's get started. So here is the new device from XPPen. As noted in the thumbnail today, we will be reviewing the XPPen 15.6 Pro version 2 display tablet. I have it up here on the standing drawing desk because I have too much on my floor. Oh, this is interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and just open the box right here. Now typically whenever I receive a box like this, inside is the other box, but whenever I opened it I was greeted with the 3-in-1 cable, which you guys know I'm not a huge fan of the 3-in-1 cable. We'll talk about that reason why in just a moment. As I look inside, I am greeted with the beautiful packaging of the unit. Let's go ahead and flip it around. The 15.6 Pro version 2 drawing display. This one has the X3 Pro chip with 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So we're going to go ahead and lay it down and get you on the normal viewing angle for this particular unit. And we're going to unbox it and put it through its paces. We will be doing some drawing today. I'm very excited. XPPen always knocks it out of the park whenever it comes to their display tablets. It looks like display resolution 1920 by 1080, so it is HD, full lamination. It has 99% RGB, and as mentioned, that X3 Pro Stylus. That's pretty awesome, so I'm very excited. 60 degrees of tilt as well. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. I went ahead and set everything up on my drawing desk here, and I removed the sleeve. I haven't seen XPPen do this before. This is a sleeve, like a belly band, they put around the entire packaging, which I think is fine. And inside is a very plain utilitarian cardboard box with a handle, which is nice. However, what I love about XPPen, and I think needs to be noted, is the fact that this artwork is sort of attached to the 15.6 Pro V2 drawing display. Every single time you see this artwork on their website, and a case in point, I've got their website pulled up with the 15.6, and you see they've got the artwork right there. So every time you see that artwork, whether it be to download a driver or to order accessories or whatever, that artwork will be present. So it's pretty easy not to get things messed up. Okay, so we're going to put that to the side, as I've got many boxes in my office. XPPen does things right. They're one of the many companies out there that has really tapped into the unboxing sort of process, because it is a process. You buy a piece of equipment, you buy a piece of technology, you expect the unboxing to be an event, and it is. XPPen does it really well. So here's a nice piece of protective foam to protect the screen, and you first open it up and you see that the screen is completely wrapped in a static-free bag. And then you have all of the accessories underneath. Now, one of the things that the Pro moniker gives you is a metal back. And this is something that I think needs to be noted, because a lot of the other tablets at the same price point don't have metal backs. And that's important because metal is more durable than plastic in most cases. Here is the protective card underneath. And then you have something that a lot of companies don't include at this size. Once you breach that 15.6, 16, probably around 16, I've even got a couple 16, I might even have a 19-inch tablet that did not have a stand included. A lot of them are including the stands in built-in component, so you'll see these little arms that flip out. XPPen does the same thing, but this time, for this particular unit, they did include a stand, which is really awesome. We're going to go ahead and look at that here in just a moment. And all of your plugs. Here's your power source, your power brick. This also is going by the wayside because a lot of companies put USB-C powered and or Thunderbolt, like Mac puts Thunderbolt in their computers, and it powers peripherals. I know my computer has, I think, 4 or 5 Thunderbolt ports, so I run a USB-C. And what's nice too is they include all of the cables, they include all of the plug variations for different countries, because there is a standard here in the United States, but, and that's what this is right here, that is the standard for the USA. I think patented in the 20s, and then maybe the teens, turn of the century. And then, of course, you have other companies or other countries that have different outlets. And XPPen covers that. Here is the pen. They do a really good job, again, of this pen. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of this box really quick because it is a little bit unruly. And here are the cables as well as the reading documentation. So let's go ahead and get those here on the drawing desk, and we're going to individually look at these and set everything up, and we're going to download the driver, and we're going to get started. First, we're going to start out with the boxes that were inside. Box inside of a box. So we already saw they included the 3-in-1 cable because, again, a lot of people don't have the capability to just plug in a single USB-C into their computer and have it work correctly. They have to have this whole conglomeration of cables that provide them with the resource they need to connect. And it shows how to connect on the back. You can connect via USB, let me see here, USB-C into the tablet, because it has 2 openings, one for the 3-in-1 and one for a standard USB. Then it goes USB into the computer, HDMI into the computer. So if you don't have an HDMI into your host machine, you'll probably have to have a dongle of some sorts. And then the USB, which is a power, goes to the brick. It is important that you don't discard these things. If anything, if you're not going to use the brick, just place it back into the box, because I can tell you one thing, there are situations where I have needed the brick and I couldn't find it. So definitely make sure you keep that in a safe place. We're going to put that 3-in-1 cable to the side, and we're going to go ahead and investigate what is in this box. Typically, it is a few cables, which it is. So, looks like we have a USB-C cable with a yellow belly band right here. Then we have a shorter USB-C to USB, looks like USB-A. Now this is interesting, and then we have this right here, which is connect with red USB cord. So this probably goes in here in some capacity, and maybe that goes to a power source, which is a brick. They're probably including these cables in case at the particular point in time when they manufactured the tablet, they didn't have resources to get the 3-in-1. That's why they had to box it separately as a secondary, which is kind of interesting. I haven't seen this happen before, but at the end of the day, I think some people are like, well, wait a minute, how am I supposed to plug this in? Because this is basically your power. This goes into your USB-C. This goes into the computer, not the computer. This goes into the tablet, and then this will probably go in here for power. Yeah. And it even says red power. And then this will be your data cable. So you can definitely see the difference in the cable thickness. This will be power, and this will be data. video. So I'm just going to use this one cable, and we're going to go ahead and take all of this stuff and place it to the side. We won't throw anything away, obviously, because I've got a whole collection of stuff. And then the pin. Actually, we're not going to do the pin yet. We're going to go and place that to the side. We're going to do the documentation. Warranty card. I believe you get... You know what? I haven't really delved into the warranty that much. Warranty policy, typically it's 90 days after purchase. Let me see here. Warranty, 12 months. Drawing tablet, drawing display, and AC accessories. So you get a year warranty whenever you purchase this. Of course, here is the cloth. Lint-free cloth, and I've got about 50 of these. These are important, and I've said this before, because it prevents your oils and stuff from getting on the screen. And honestly, XPPen does a great job of engineering their stuff to where you don't put fingerprints on there, but whenever you do, you can wipe it off with the cloth and then use the provided glove. I've used these for about 15 years. And of course the quick start guide that shows you everything you need in multiple languages. Wow. English, looks like, is that Japanese? German, Spanish, French, Italian. I don't know, is that Taiwanese? That's Chinese. But Russian, well, they got Russian in here? Portuguese? Wow, this is really cool. I'm a big language guy, but very simple to set up. For me, because I'm going to be plugging this into my Mac Mini, which has USB-C, and I'll just basically plug one end into the tablet and the other end into the computer, and that's all I have to do. Very simple. Let's go ahead and open the pen. They've used this particular design on many of their tablets. It says, "Do not twist off the pen cap." I wonder how many people have done that. Get the pen, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to take it apart. Oh, see that right there? That's a little bit of QC issue. Looks like the rubber has bowed out just slightly right out of the package, but it pushes down very simply. No foul, no issue. This pen, since it is Pro, does have an eraser. It's got 2 buttons, programmable, and whenever you unscrew the other side, and it's noted by these stickers, you have pen nibs and a pen nib remover. Stick the pen nib in the hole, go to the side slightly. It should just pull out. Doesn't always work for me because I'm just like every other human. I use my teeth. Yeah, comes right out, and you can replace it with nibs. Before, whenever I used these nibs, I would get about a year and a half out of these nibs. They've engineered them now to where they wear out much faster. One of the other companies, competitors of XPPen, actually, I only get about 3 months out of a nib, which is terrible. I'm not going to say what competitor it is, but XPPen engineers theirs to last. And if you ever need to replace them, you have some right here. So let's go ahead and put that back in right there. And what's nice is, if you decide, and a lot of people don't know this, instead of putting it all the way back into its home, that doubles as a pen holder. And it's weighted, so it's got rubber on the inside and it's got some heft to it, so it's not going to tilt over too easily. Right, if I shake it, whatever. But it does work. And it's got a little rubber thing on the bottom to where it doesn't slide. So that's pretty cool. And I like XPPen pens just because of the way they feel. They use really good rubber. And overall, the fit and finish and the quality is really good. Nice tampo printing right there. And they've got a little bit of a squared off edge to where whenever it rolls, it should stop. Doesn't always. There it goes. There. Depending on what incline you have. So, details. of the XPPen Artist 15.6 Pro version 2, functional red dial, flexible artist creation. Lots of really cool details. Smart chip, 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. And then right here, which is really nice, and we'll check out the unit here in just a moment, you can change the brightness on the unit. You don't have to go into any specific settings. And it is a for me anyway, it is a one cable connection. So let's go ahead and set the stand up right here. We're going to put the unit on the stand and hook it up to the computer. Continuing in the unboxing process, here is the stand they include with the unit. First of all, composite plastic, very nice printing, very sturdy, nice and thick. I've seen other stands that are metal, which obviously would probably be better because the durability of metal. However, this has a little handle on it, which is really nice. And it looks like it's locked in place. I wonder how it unlocks. Haha, got it. So it's got a click, and all you got to do is take your fingers on each side and you push, and it unlocks. Now, it doesn't have a high degree of adjustability. I typically draw at this angle right here, so I need probably about another, I don't know, 3.5 inches, 3 inches. However, we can put a book under there if needed, but for this exercise, because right now, standing, I really would need it right there because I want to have nice direct interface with the screen. How am I going to mitigate that? Anyway, so not a bad stand at all. Not amazing. Does it lock? Oh, it locks. Okay. So make sure it locks and it's very sturdy. It does have rubber here, here, and here for the tablet. And it's got rubber here and here, as well as 3 placements on the bottom. So once it sits, it's not going to go anywhere. That's really nice. And we're going to remove the unit from its static-free home. You guys know how I love the sound of that plastic. It just makes me so happy. A kid, of course. Wow. That is really shiny. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Oh, ha! I'm like, wow, why is it so shiny? It said that it had a matte screen cover. So, this is laminated glass. Laminated meaning it bonds to the LCD screen on the bottom. And then, I don't know, they did say a film, didn't they? I'm going to have to look at the documentation again. Let's look. Let's look one more time. Because I'm not a fan of films, and especially whenever you stick a pro moniker on something, I definitely don't want a film on there. Metal backplate, quick keys, light, restore the drawing experience. It says full lamination and anti-glare film. Reduce the space between the nib and the display, minimizing reflections for uninterrupted creative expression. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't want to peel it off. Anyway, we're going to assume, I don't know, anti-glare film. I'm going to assume that it's an applied film at this point in time until I read something different. Because it says here, restore the paper-like drawing experience, which it does. It feels like paper. It's got a little bit of a texture to it, which is really nice. And it does not take fingerprints. That is really nice. Full lamination and anti-glare film. Reduce the space between the nib and the display. So it is laminated, but I'm not sure that this is etched. It doesn't say etched glass. So we're going to assume that it's an applied film. I have run into issues with applied films in the past, and even on XPPen products, after about 2 years, because I draw so much, I actually wore the film out and I had to replace it. And I know XPPen did sell their film at a price point which was reasonable, But I was not a professional applying said film, so I ended up buying another company's, and I actually ordered 2 of them because I messed up the first one, and I knew I was going to mess up the first one. So here is the, and that was about 4 years ago. The new film technology, I'm sure, is much better than it was back then. They use really good materials, and actually I still have that tablet behind me. That is the 22 or 24 inch. I think that's the 24 inch. So here's the USB-C. We're going to go ahead and plug this in to the USB-C port on the side, and then we run it up to my Macintosh, and we turn it on. And power. Let's see what we got. Here we go. Excellent. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get set up. I will tell you right now. Let's go ahead and turn the brightness up all the way. Okay. We're going to adjust the lighting, and I'm going to adjust it up like this so you can actually see the display. Okay? Okay, so I've got the driver installed into my Macintosh, and I've got the driver opened. It's important that you as a user understand what you're dealing with, and there are complexities going on that sometimes I think get overlooked. You saw me when I first started the unit. I had to adjust the brightness, which was really nice because I felt like it was a little dark. It is bright, but it's not slap you in the face bright, and I like that. But, in the same accord, I think the colors are really saturated to the point where they're kind of oversaturated. However, I've already noticed that out of the box, the driver needs to be calibrated. So, whenever you first open the driver, you're presented with this. This is a representation of the tablet. It shows that you can go ahead and custom program your keys as well as your scroll wheel depending on what program. This is called the global setting. If you want to add a program, you first have to launch program. I believe that's the way it goes. Yes. You have to launch the program such as Photoshop, Illustrator, Clip Studio Paint, whatever drawing program, Krita program that you're going to be utilizing to do your work. I typically use Photoshop or Sketchbook Pro or Illustrator or Clip Studio Paint, so I'll go in and I'll start adding some of those programs. We're going to do that in just a moment, but right out of the box, I noticed that the cursor was slightly off at the tip. It is literally, it is almost perfect, but I like things the way I like them. So there's a little, looks like a little target right here. That is for calibration, and once you press that, it brings you to a white screen, and what you're going to do is in your normal drawing pose, not doing this, but you're going to do it in your normal pose, you're going to just click inside the crosshairs and make sure you do it naturally. It's important that you do it naturally, not contrived, because that will basically set up your calibration for you. And if you change, it's still not right. And if you change the angle of the tablet, I don't like that at all. No, it's still off. So right now, anomaly. Could be user error, it could be software, it could be hardware, it could be with another driver interfering, because I do have a lot of drivers installed. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep trying to get it the way I like it, because I like things a certain way. So down here you can adjust the pen pressure globally, again globally. Oh, here we go. I think I found the problem. So right now, it is set. You can use different pens with this particular tablet. Right now it is set for the X3 Elite Plus. I need to switch it to the X3 Pro, which is what this is, the X3 Pro pin. So let's go back. We're going to go ahead and set it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yes, that pretty much solved my issue almost. It's literally just to the right, and I'm not really sure why, so we'll probably do a restart. I like mine just a little bit softer for global because I'll be going in and clicking menus and stuff. So I wanted to show you guys this particular facet of the process because it is challenging. Not everybody understands or knows how to do stuff like this, and it's important that you know as a user. If you like your configuration and you've gone in and added all your programs and you've done your program keys, because you can program your keys based upon what program is launched. So if I have my scroll wheel as zoom in Photoshop and then I want my scroll wheel as pan in Illustrator, it will be different based upon what I program it according to the software. So you can do that. But in here, if you like everything you've done, you can go ahead and save your configuration. I typically save it right on the desktop because I do so many tablet reviews. I have to delete stuff all the time. So yeah, so in your desktop, and then boom, you can go ahead and save. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead to here. Let's go to System Settings. Let's go to Display. It is 1920 by 1080 default. Color profile MD168H. I don't know what that is. So we're going to go ahead and do Adobe RGB. And you see how much it changed. This is what my drawing looks like. It does not look like this. This is a venerable disaster. So I go back to Adobe RGB, or I can go to Color Match RGB. Again, Color Match is way too saturated. This is what my drawing looks like for reals. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and program my quick keys as per the programs that we're going to use. We're going to use Sketchbook Pro, and we're going to use Photoshop today. Now, the quick keys are nice. What I like too is there's grippy on the back. So whenever I'm holding it, like if I'm holding it and doing the quick keys and stuff, it gives me a little bit of a tact to be able to move things around. And the quick keys have some texture on them, and they're kind of shiny on the center. And what's interesting, there's a minus there, there's a dot there, maybe in the dark. That helps our human brains determine, okay, that's the second one because it's got that horizontal line. Here is the dot in the center. And then of course, you've got that scroll. In global setting, it magnifies the folders. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit more. I'm going to restart and I'm going to play a little bit more with the calibration to see if I can't get that to my liking. And then we're going to start the drawing process. Super fun. Okay, just for posterity, I want to go ahead and show you how to add a program for the quick keys, because we are going to be utilizing the quick keys today. Now, typically I will use a keyboard for my quick keys or a quick key device, but since this provides them on the tablet and it is a feature, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that feature. So right here is where I add the program first. Let's go ahead and add the program. Currently I have Photoshop running. It is the latest and greatest Photoshop. Let's go ahead and change these. Now I do things a certain way because I have a lot of muscle memory in my left hand. Years and years of muscle memory. So this button right here will probably be the space bar. Actually, I like that. That's okay. Space bar. Okay, space bar. We're going to go ahead and do shortcut key. We're going to go Command S for save. Okay, so Command S all the way down. Show driver panel, not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Command S, so we're going to do R. That'll be R for rotate. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Again, shortcut key. So we're going to hit R. Now this is for Photoshop only. Command Z. Yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to do shortcut key. Command Shift Z. Okay. So right down here I've got R for rotate, Command Z for undo, Command Shift Z for redo, and Command S for save. Right here is my space bar. Then I'm going to do, that's brush, that's eraser, and then options. So we're going to do, I think we're going to do F. F for full. So now we've got that program for Photoshop. Now if you look, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to global. Everything changes. So if I go here to that, right now it is zoom. I don't want to do anything with brush size, close, because I typically use the keyboard for brush size. But since we're using this, I mean, no, we'll go ahead and keep it at zoom. Okay. Alright. And you see I press the button, and then I can zoom in, which is very convenient. And we're going to go ahead and change the brush color. We're going to add a layer. We're going to go to a familiar brush. Okay. And Command Z. So you got to understand too, I just programmed these, and now I have to figure out what they are. So that's that. This is full. Okay. That's eraser, that's brush. This is rotate. I don't know about that. I'm going to change that. Command Z, and we'll go back to brush. Okay. So we're going to do a brush test really quick. We're going to turn taper on. We're going to... XPPen does a wonderful job with their 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. They are probably one of the few companies that is so consistent with their stuff, especially since they introduced that X3. It is just a delight. Space bar, space bar. I'm trying. I had somebody criticize the you-know-what out of me. They're like, somebody that is reviewing a product should utilize the quick keys. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're right, dude. You are completely right. So what I'm doing right now is just getting a feel. Not sure I like how high up I have the space bar. I might have to change that. Yeah, because well, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Settle down. So they're rendering in, just going back to full. It's not. Is it that one? Yes. The way the brush feels is just so natural, and the pen's got a really good weight to it. Yeah. So we're going to be drawing an animal today. This is just literally a simple warm-up. I don't know what kind of animal we're going to draw. I've been drawing a lot of animals lately, and for those of you who don't know, I have many videos about animals, and we've segued over to cartoons for this month on my channel, and I might do a digital drawing using the XPPen Pro V2 Artist Series by XPPen. Okay, so we're going to zoom out. Okay, so we're going to do a line test because line tests are important to some people, not so much to me, because I draw very fast and a lot of the detail stuff doesn't really affect me, but there is an important factor there because you don't want line wiggle and you don't want contrived things like this whenever you draw a line, and I have seen stuff like this, not so much from XPPen but from some of the other Joe Schmoes. Yeah, that's gonna have to be my space. I keep going towards it, so let's go ahead and change that really quick. So this, you're watching me do this on the fly. Okay, and then that will be R. Okay, and you can do that in program and it automatically, look, it changed it. So let's go back to the pen. Diagonal, really good feel. Nice pressure curve. That feels really good. Let's go ahead and change the pen. I do like using textured pens a lot, but they're not for everybody. Nope. That's that one. Okay. I'll get it. I'll get it. I'll get it. Settle down. Okay. So let's go ahead. Change this. Okay. So shoestringing. Shoestringing is whenever you have an inconsistent pressure near the end of the stroke and you'll get something that looks kind of like that. And you'll see a drop off. I don't see anything like that happening. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a skosh. So that wasn't from XPPen. Yeah, their stroke's really good. Initial dip in, so we're just going to do the weight of the pen. Very light. That's very nice. A very good pressure curve overall. So let's go ahead and zoom out. Okay. Let's go ahead and darken this a little bit so you can see it better. Yeah. Alright, so let's... Yeah, I may have to actually... Because I want that. There we go. Okay, I had to change the brush size. Okay, so eraser. I do see the importance of erasers on the unit, but what I typically do is I will program the pen, because I can program the pen right here. We're in Photoshop, and again you can program the pen as per app specific. See, we'll do eraser. Okay. E. Okay. Sweet. So now I can just press that button right there and it erases. Now can I twist it around and I can do that? Yeah. Yeah, I can. But what I've noticed is in the workflow, whenever I'm working, oh, I don't want to have to switch around like that. So for my particular workflow, I just like having the eraser right there. And this is left double click and you can press buttons in there. However, I typically have the eyedropper, but we're going to program that a little bit later, I do believe. Okay, so good pressure test, good line test, good eraser test. Let's go ahead and see how those 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity fly. And whoa, that almost made my head explode. And how you can see that is if you make your brush really big. Now, this will probably make my computer just kind of chew a little bit, so my apologies. Actually, it didn't. It's perfect. See, this is where the 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity comes in, is when the brushes are really big. Whenever they're really small, it doesn't matter. That's why I think it's a misnomer to think that more pressure is better. Once you breach a threshold, you're not going to notice it. It'll be a nuance. Where you'll notice it is obviously where I'm at right now in the really big brushes. Let's make that a little bit smaller there, buddy. And you don't see some of the staggering. Like, if you make a brush really big, a lot of times you'll see it go pop, 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 and you can see the circle of the brush like that. And what you're seeing here is pretty much perfection. I mean perfection. Just delightful. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Look at that. It's hard for me to describe how it feels. If you want perfect pressure, there you go. Problem solved. That is a perfect pressure. That is a pencil. Put it on paper. You've got unlimited pressure. Good to go. When you have a device like this, it has to go through so many things to work. This is very natural, and the dip in, the distance between the pen and the screen is probably the width of my pinky. So that distance right there is when it starts, you start getting activation. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and start drawing our animal. I don't know what I'm going to draw. You can't put me on the spot like that. I don't know. We'll do something. It'll be great. We'll have fun. So I'm looking at the price point for this particular unit. Right now, it retails for $379 on the XPPen.com website. However, they do run sales, and right now, this particular unit is $279.99. You're getting full HD, you're getting a laminated screen. It does have a film applied, but it is anti-glare. You're getting quick keys, you're getting a metal back, you're getting a battery-free pen. You're getting 99% RGB for $279. That is pretty awesome, if you ask me. Pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and shrink that brush. Big old Betty. He's like, hello ladies. How's it going? I'm gonna come over to my crib. Have some Doritos. Maybe some soda pop. Play some Uno. That'd be great. Right? Yeah. You can see my collection of Pokemon cards. They're very rare. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start. I'm just being funny. Let's go ahead and start drawing the animal and putting the Artist 15.6 Pro version 2 through its paces. Let's do this. And it's finally time to start the drawing demo on the XPPen 15.6 Artist Pro version 2 drawing display. So you guys know that I love drawing displays in general, but XPPen has really done things right with a lot of their tablets. One of my favorite tablets they ever created, actually two of them, was the XPPen Artist Pro 24-inch 165 hertz HD tablet, and it was sublime. Just the overall presentation, fit and finish and quality, it was just wonderful. I also tested their 4K version, non 65 hertz refresh rate. And overall, the experience was great, but I think my favorite was the 19-inch Ultra. I think that's the 19-inch. That was my favorite by far. The drawing experience was really probably the best I have ever had in any tablet. And that's saying a lot, because I review a lot of tablets and have reviewed a lot of tablets in the past. And that one was just divine. So this one, where are we going to land with this one? You saw with the initial pencil test, everything worked out really good. Didn't have any issues or anything there. Yeah, I think that overall we're going to land in a positive place with this one. I hope. So I don't typically use the quick keys on the left hand side or the right hand side. I either have a quick key remote, something like this, which is made by an alternate company, but my primary, and I've had this for a while, is this little jewel. This little guy. I have used him so much. He's beat up. This is my second one, and I have many others that I utilize, made by XPPen, the later models, but this one just, it was designed correctly. I think the new ones are a horizontal format, and you can do either or, but I like this one because it just speaks to me. It's dongle base, and I've programmed stuff very simple, and I've got my scroll wheel, and I typically will place it on the left hand side, and I'll have my keyboard up here, but I can't do that right now because I'm at a different desk. I will be utilizing some of the quick keys over here on the left hand side because this is a demo and I want to make sure and use these features, whereas normally I would not. As you see, I'm also having some challenges with doing the utilizing the quick keys because I'm not used to them. So please excuse me if I accidentally reach over here to the left hand side. So I digress. So I decided to go ahead and do a time lapse with a bit of narration over the drawing. I was talking about cows and some of the subject matter, and I kind of strayed off because that's the storyteller in me. But I wanted to really focus on the drawing experience. You can see I've got the glove on, and I've used the glove many times just for the fact I don't like fingerprints on the screen or anything like that. And this screen doesn't suffer from any of that. I do like the glove because it allows me to really glide across the screen, which is very nice. And the drawing experience overall is just so good. I can't really complain about anything nowadays with XPPen or a lot of the other tablets out there, unless it's one of the really C- or D grade tablets you might get on Amazon for $50. XPPen has really dialed in their drawing experience, and when you add all of these professional features like the laminated screen, you've got the quick keys on the left, you've got that HD, I cranked up the brightness, and it's just a pleasure to draw on. So I'm going to put you guys on an extended time lapse and let you guys just enjoy me drawing a cow. It doesn't sound very exciting, but it was. I really had a good time with this unit. So enjoy. Okay, so it's very important for me to do just a simple drawing wrap up. I really enjoyed doing the drawing on this particular tablet. The subject matter, of course, is not like super cartoony or anything like that, but overall it was a joy. I did switch back and forth between my keyboard on the left hand side and the quick keys, and you saw me do that quite a bit, but near the end I'm just like, you know what, I just need to go ahead and wrap this drawing up. So muscle memory took over. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. XPPen makes a great product. I will never ever deny that. There are just one little note that I'd have to kind of throw in there, and it had to do with the calibration. And eventually I was able to get that worked out, no problem. But let's go ahead and do a wrap up and let you see the drawing in its finality. So that wraps up my review of the XPPen Artist 15.6 Pro version 2 drawing display. I think that this is a winner, and the reason why is because you get a large return on your investment. It is hard for these companies to create these tablets and make profit on them in a sub $300 price point. This one, I believe, was for sale just under $300. It retails, I believe, for $379, and even at that price point, you're getting a lot of features from your HD screen, your laminated screen, your quick keys on the left, 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, 98 or 99%, I believe it's 99% RGB color saturation gamut, and a metal backing. That Pro moniker, I think, really carries weight whenever it comes to XPPen. Do they have more expensive tablets? Absolutely. You can get their increased size. Whenever you go up in size, you're going to pay an increased price point. You're looking at 16-inch, 19-inch, 22-inch, and then finally their 24-inch, which is their premier display tablet for large formats. Is it 4K? No, but at this price point, I'm okay with it. The thing is, 4K, I don't think is a massive influencer on me as it pertains to my drawing experience, because I've created artwork on, golly, I mean, HD really didn't start coming around until the late 90s, early 2000s, and then I started seeing the difference whenever we switched from standard definition over to HD. And that's kind of where I have a lot of my artwork done. Now, I do work on a 4K display normally, but when you apply that anti-glare film, something obviously happens because it doesn't quite look as crisp as you would like. This does have a anti-glare film applied, and some of XPPen's other tablets, their display tablets, actually have etched glass, so you don't have to worry about that film wearing out. I did mention that I had a tablet, or I may not have mentioned, I did have a tablet that ended up, the film wore out, but that was probably about 5 years ago. I know technology improves, and I'm confident that this particular film applied on this unit will last. And they've revised their tips, the nibs, to be a bit softer. Instead of scratching the film, the nibs will wear out first. Again, pushing that envelope, improving every single year, developing new products, and using better materials. That's XPPen. They're continually pushing and doing better. So hopefully you got something from this particular exercise and review process of XPPen's products. We do have more reviews on the way, so definitely stay tuned. And definitely stay tuned to the channel, because the month of February is Cartoon Month. Let's go ahead and bid adieu to all of you. And please like and subscribe if you like what you see. And share the video. Share. Because everything makes a difference as it applies to the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, go outside and do something fun today, guys. And have a good one. Thanks. Bye.